Today's Anxiety Slayer podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp and Organifi. Are stress and anxiety interfering with your happiness? Have you been considering seeing a therapist, but you're not sure where to start? BetterHelp will assess your counseling needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist so you can start getting the support you need online in under 24 hours. Special offer for Anxiety Slayer listeners. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/slayer. That's betterhelp.com/slayer. Organifi creates superfood blends that offer plant-based nutrition made with high-quality ingredients. Each Organifi blend is science-backed to craft the most effective doses with ingredients that are organic, free of fillers, and contain less than 3 grams of sugar per serving. Go to Organifi.com/slayer and use the code SLAYER for 20% off your order. That's Organifi.com/slayer. And remember to use the code SLAYER for 20% off any item. Welcome back to the Anxiety Slayer podcast. I'm Shan Vanderleek here with my wonderful friend and co-host Ananga Sivir. Today we're discussing how to practice good self-care and calm anxiety during the holiday season. This is big for so many of our listeners and for us as well. When you've got travel involved, you're in the midst of or on the other side of the pandemic, depending on your point of view, all the social anxiety, all of the things that come up, we know that it can be triggering. So we're going to talk about that today, what you can do to support yourself. Welcome back, Ananga.
Hey, Shan.
It's so good to be with you again. And it's wild to think that the holidays are right ahead of us. This year just flew by so quickly.
Yeah, for me too. It's really gone fast.
Where can we begin to best care for ourselves this time of year?
I think for me, the beginning is in knowing that we have to do that, in knowing that we have to allow for self-care and remembering that when there's social obligations, traveling, perhaps seeing people that you haven't seen for a while, just remembering that that can raise nervous energy and raise anxiety. So to have a think ahead of time about what might help us. We talked in a recent episode about having a self-care checklist on the wall. In other episodes, we've talked about having an Anxiety Slayer care kit, and I think that's really helpful for the holidays. Have a think about what you might need to have to hand to help you feel comfortable, and what you might need to do, how you might need to schedule your days to just allow time for downtime and quiet time and self-care.
I really like the idea of making time, even if it's just a few minutes each day, to do something that you find calming and relaxing, something that you enjoy. It's been my experience, and I know it has been for you as well, that sometimes we get so caught up in the expectations, the what to do, what to prepare, where to go, travel, all the things, that if we can balance that out with a few minutes each day, it makes such a big difference.
Yeah, really important. Otherwise, we can quickly feel overwhelmed or out of balance, and it's already started to happen. And then it's harder to get ourselves back in a comfortable place. So again, to just think ahead of time, to allow time, allow a few minutes in the day for self-care. And we've got some suggestions for that.
One of the suggestions that has worked really well for me over the years is to get up a bit earlier than everyone else, so that I can do some reading and perhaps some meditation. And I know that you also have done some tapping to prepare before events. And it's just a really supportive way to begin the day, to just be in your space, doing what you know to do so that you can start off putting the best foot forward.
Yeah, that's day and night for me, is having a little time alone before I greet the day and before I greet others in my day. I really need that time, that balanced time for some reading, meditation, some quiet time. That definitely sets me up well.
And then make sure that you take a walk during your time with friends and family. A good walk after dinner, a good walk on your own or with friends and family to just kind of break things up and get out of the house. And so if you can do that, and depending on where you live, you might have to bundle up, but it's worth it to kind of break up the time of being inside and being together. And if you're an introvert, you know how important it is to go off on your own, even if it is by yourself for a little bit of time. To get outside makes sense.
I can remember a holiday season a few years ago that was really challenging for me. And I took myself off to the restroom to practice tapping for a good 5 minutes. So, we do have the opportunity to take ourselves away if we need to and just find ourselves a bit of quiet and practice something that helps us feel calm again. That's one of the most beneficial tapping sessions I've ever done. It's good to have a few tricks up your sleeve that you can take with you and help you get through.
And remember also to stay hydrated. Drink plenty of water or tea when you're visiting. If you're going to have alcoholic beverages, make sure that you're having a glass of water in between those beverages.
It's so easy in social gatherings with the kind of little bit of nervous energy that comes up at the time of year we're in the Northern Hemisphere, where the daylight hours are very short. It's quite easy to find yourself turning up somewhere or having guests over, and before you know it, it's getting dark and you're all indoors and the heating's on, so the air's dry and there's extra body heat in the room, and it's really easy to get dehydrated. So really important to, sip some hot water with lime and rescue remedy, or some herb teas, or just some regular water. Set a reminder if you need to, or just have some to hand, whatever it is to help you remember to keep hydrated. And always a good idea to add some Bach Flowers rescue remedy if anxiety is running a bit high.
And then it's also recommended that you have an early night. You don't have to stay up until all hours of the night because you have company or because you're visiting with somebody and staying in their space. It's okay to excuse yourself and get a good night's rest. One of the other things that I like to do when I'm visiting family, and this I have to draw on from my past experience, because now when I visit my mom, I stay in a little cottage, and so I have my private space. But in the times when I didn't have that, I would create a wonderful oasis. I would bring some good music to listen to and just my headset and settle in and listen to music and bring my candles, or I would bring some incense or my favorite crystals and create like a little altar, a little space away from home, kind of a touch point for comfort and relaxation. And I do that now when I travel. On my trip coming up, I have a little kit that I take with me that has everything that I need. It has my rescue remedy. It has a candle. It has a little bit of incense and essential oils. And it's my own care kit for making sure I've got something that's so sweet and supportive wherever I go.
Yeah, really important. Really important that we have a care kit with us. And it can be small. It doesn't have to take up a suitcase. It can be small enough to put in a shoulder bag. A few winters ago, my daughter and I were visiting friends, and we were staying in a hotel to break the journey up, and we got snowed in, which...
Oh, I remember that story. Yeah.
If anyone knows England, 2 to 4 inches of snow and everything just grinds to a halt. So we had to stay another night. But we made our room really nice, and I had a little speaker with me that I always carry, and an MP3 player with the sounds I like to listen to that I find healing and uplifting and also relaxing. And my daughter and I always carry some pictures with us that are important to us. And we just set up in this travel hotel, a little space, and just sat on the bed and waited out. But it was really nice that we had that with us.
Yeah.
those comfort items of whatever's important to you. It's a good practice to have those things, and then wherever you are, you've got a little piece of home, piece of sanctuary with you.
The other piece that is so vital this time of year is to protect your energy. And we've talked about this many times, Ananga, that some of us get an energy boost from social gatherings and others find them draining. And you and I tend to, while we enjoy our loved ones very much, we get drained by them, more of an introverted reaction. And so if you know that, if you're more of an introvert, you know that it's important to protect your energy, to enjoy doing what you're doing, socializing as long as you can and as long as you're comfortable, but then to be extra aware of your nervous system and all of the things that you need to do to look after yourself. If you have a busy holiday season ahead, think about how you like to recharge and how you like to care for yourself. Again, going back to alone time, tapping, walking, reading, whatever it is you need to do so that you can allow yourself the space that is going to be nurturing for you and is going to help you protect your energy.
Yeah, really helpful to just have a think ahead of time of what you might need to bring you some space and some comfort. It's important when we're suffering with anxiety to have those self-care pockets of time because it can stop it escalating and building up into really uncomfortable feelings.
So we've addressed some things that you can do for self-support and protecting your energy. It's also important that you free yourself from expectations. Please, you are not Martha Stewart. You do not have to have a perfect anything. What is important about this time of year is that you get to spend time with those people that you love and that you're blessed to have food on your table and to enjoy what all of that looks like in its imperfection, which is absolutely perfect, just as it is. You can plan your meals and your time together to an extent, of course, but it's much easier to just let things unfold. And to also remember, you can't control the opinions, the moods, or the priorities of others. You can only show up where you're at in kindness and in love and let the rest play out as well, and do your best not to get hooked by those characters that might be around who want to get into politics or get into religion or get into the topics that are just better left aside so that we can focus on loving each other and being sweet with each other. Of course, that's my opinion, but that's something that I do. Just stay away from it and don't let yourself fall in the trap if it happens, and excuse yourself if it does happen.
That's the time to take that walk.
Right? It absolutely is.
Yeah, I think I've, in my younger years, wasted a lot of time and energy on getting caught up or concerned about conversations that I was finding really difficult. And I should have removed myself, and now I know to do that.
Yeah.
Even if you're just in another room or connecting with somebody else in the room that you can have a more uplifting and genuine exchange with, or go to the restroom and tap.
Or there was a really good teaching from Dr. Dane here when we were together, and that is interesting point of view is something that you can say and just let the conversation drop, at least for you in that space. Somebody saying what they're saying instead of getting caught in or wanting to argue or wanting to be right or just wanting to roll your eyes or whatever the scenario is. And I realize some people do not have any of this going on, but obviously Ananga and I have in our past. Not so much in our present anymore, but to just say, oh, interesting point of view. And then leave it.
Yeah.
Just leave it.
Yeah. It's really been an important teaching for me to know that we don't have to feel pinned or held hostage to a situation if it's uncomfortable.
Yes, and that none of this is about perfection. Don't worry about the perfect tree or the perfect gift or that the food is just as good as what Gordon Ramsay would make, or to bury ourselves in all of the stress of getting it right and the obsession of having everything just perfect before everybody walks in. I used to be an absolute crazy person before gatherings because I wanted everything just so, and still feel like maybe in another lifetime I was probably a chef, the way that I expect things to roll out. Again, not like that anymore. Have taken so much of that pressure off, and so Ananga and I can laugh at ourselves about this stuff now because we've learned so much about it. After the break, we're going to talk about more things that you can do to support yourself, as well as a sweet guided practice for self-care and relaxation during these busy times. Are stress and anxiety interfering with your happiness and preventing you from living your best life? There have been a few times in my life where I've needed some extra support, and I wish I'd had the option for online support. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. To be clear, BetterHelp is not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It is professional counseling done securely online, and their service is available for clients worldwide. You get timely and thoughtful responses, plus you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions so you don't have to leave the comfort of your own home. It's more affordable than traditional in-person counseling, and financial aid is available. You can start living a happier life today. Special offer for Anxiety Slayer listeners: get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/slayer. That's betterhelp.com/slayer. I've been including superfoods in my diet for many, many years, and I just found a new product that I absolutely love. Organifi is a line of organic superfood blends that offers plant-based nutrition made with high-quality ingredients. Their green juice is one of my absolute favorites and contains essential superfoods and a clinical dose of ashwagandha, which helps reduce stress and supports healthy cortisol levels. Organifi Gold is another favorite of mine. It's a superfood tea that supports rest and relaxation so you can wake up feeling refreshed. It's a perfect tea right before bedtime. Each Organifi blend is easy to use by simply mixing it with water or your favorite beverage or smoothie. Organifi takes pride in offering the best tasting superfood products on the market at a price that works out to less than $3 a day. Go to Organifi.com/slayer and use the code SLAYER for 20% off your order. That's Organifi.com/slayer. And remember to use the code SLAYER for 20% off any item. Before the break, we were talking about freeing ourselves from expectations of perfection and allowing ourselves to dodge out of conversations that we don't want to be a part of. And now we're going to talk about being aware of your breath, as well as sharing a guided practice for relaxation during these busy holiday times.
Yeah, really important to remember to check in on our breathing, not in an anxious way, not in a way where we're obsessing with our breathing, but just to make sure it's slow and even, being aware of our tension levels and our breath becoming shallow. If we're starting to get a little out of balance, we might notice ourselves feeling overwhelmed by noise or company. Just to take a moment to drop your shoulders and take a nice long out breath. And if you can, just walk to a window and do that and just admire the view. Even if we're a guest in somebody's home, we can just walk to the window and say, you have a beautiful view here. So we don't feel antisocial, and just admire the view. Drop your shoulders, take a breath, relax your jaw. Just take those little breaks, again, to stop anxiety building beneath our level of awareness and escalating into something that feels too uncomfortable. And the calm point is another
trick that we have up our sleeves that can be used anywhere and nobody needs to know. It's kind of like the TikTok, nobody needs to know. Uh, but if you just take your thumb and press it in your palm, your right thumb, left palm, nice and firm, and just take a few deep breaths, that's going to really help as well, and can help anytime that you start to feel a little jangly.
Yeah, I love the calm point because it's so effective, and I also love it because it's so discreet. Sometimes if we're of an anxious nature, we might find it a little challenging to excuse ourselves and move away from a situation. So the calm point, you can put your hands in your lap even during a meal. You don't have to go anywhere. Just put your hands in your lap and just press that point. Drop your shoulders, take nice steady breaths. Or you may be sitting around socializing, talking with people. You can still put your hands in your lap and use that calm point to help yourself feel more relaxed. Sometimes I'll bring my hands up to chest level and I'll really massage that point around. People don't know what you're doing or why.
Yeah.
A rare occasion that somebody notices, they're usually very happy to learn it. I think we've shared it with a few people, but it can be really nice just to bring your hands up, press your right thumb firmly into the palm of your left hand and just massage your thumb around in a circle and just release your shoulders, take some steady breaths, and it takes everything down a notch really nicely.
And it's also a great exercise to do when you're a passenger in the car.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like traveling well and the weather is dicey, or if you just are feeling a little bit out of sorts, and it doesn't have to do with driving, but just that point from leaving the house to getting to where you're going can be a little bit much sometimes. So yeah, the calm point is something that you want in your Slayer toolkit and that you want to use and try. Practice it again and again, and you will be very grateful that you can do it and that you know about it. Ananga, will you walk us through the guided practice that we've created for today?
Yeah, this is just a little something you can take yourself off with. You can probably memorize it very easily or listen to us guide you through it. It just takes 5 minutes, and it's a really helpful practice for returning to center, feeling grounded, showing yourself some self-care and some self-respect, which is always important, and releasing anxiety from your mind and your body. Take your right hand and place it right over the center of your chest with your fingers spread out so you're covering a broad area on the front of your chest. And then bring your left hand over to cover your right hand and just feel the warmth between your hands and between your hands and your chest. And roll your shoulders back to open your chest. Often when we feel anxious or low, our shoulders come forward and we have like a hunched forward posture. So to open your chest, bring your elbows back and your shoulders back to your sides. So your chest's really nice and open. And then check in that your jaw is relaxed and your face is soft. In Qigong, it's recommended that you wear half a smile on your face because that relaxes all the muscles of your face. And then you just send your attention to the center of your chest where the warmth of your hands is resting, and feel that warmth on your chest, and let your breath steady and deepen. Make your exhalation long and smooth. And your inhale deep and gentle. And now focusing on that center of your chest, your heart center, feeling the warmth of your hands over your heart. And you send some loving care to yourself as you breathe. Send a good intention towards yourself of support and care. And then as you breathe, meditate on breathing in warmth and peace. As you breathe in, bringing in warmth and peace, oxygen, life. And then as you breathe out, imagine breathing out anxiety and stress. So as you take your next breath in, imagine your body relaxing more and more with each breath and receiving your care. And as you breathe out, imagine anxiety leaving your body and drifting far, far away, like black smoke, just drifting out of sight. And keep breathing like that for a few minutes, breathing in warmth, kindness, and breathing out anxiety, seeing it as black smoke drifting far, far away, out of your mind and out of your body. And just keep breathing like that for a few minutes. Even 3 minutes makes quite a difference. Feeling your breath bringing life, care, and warmth into your body, and your out-breath carrying away anxiety and stress. And you can do that as often in the day as you need to. It's a good thing to do to start your day, to center and balance yourself. It's a good thing to do to take yourself off and do it for just 3 to 5 minutes. And it's a lovely thing to do before sleep, to just release all that nervous energy and anxiety and help yourself settle into a good sleep.
Oh, that was so nice. Thank you so much for sharing. Even after all of these years, I'm so moved by your voice and your guided relaxations. I really appreciate it. I know our listeners will as well. And we want to wish you the happiest holy days possible, and that you are kind to yourself, that you show up exactly as you are, knowing that you are loved and that you do not need to be any other version of yourself than who you truly be, and that we are thinking of you and sending you our good wishes and gratitude that you continue to join us week after week on Anxiety Slayer. You can find a studio recorded version of this calming practice with relaxing music on our Patreon, along with over 100 downloads, including our guided relaxations and tapping sessions. Learn more at patreon.com/Anxiety Slayer.